Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshnaaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Swamini Dinamne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 5 Chapter 3 Verse 6 Parijana Anuraga Virachita Shabala Shabda Salila Sita Kisalaya Tulasika Durva Ankuraihi Api Samrutaya Saparyaya Kila Parama Paritushyasi. O Supreme Lord, you are full in every respect. You are certainly very satisfied when your devotees offer you prayers with faltering voices, and in ecstasy bring you tulsi leaves, water, twigs bearing new leaves, and newly grown grass. This surely makes you satisfied. One does not need great wealth, education, or opulence to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one is fully absorbed in love and ecstasy, he need offer only a flower and a little water. One is fully absorbed in love and ecstasy. He need offer only a flower and a little water. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pashvam Palam Toyameva Bhaktya Prachti. If one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. The Supreme Lord can be pleased only by devotional service. Therefore, it is said here that the Lord is surely satisfied by devotion and nothing else. Quoting from Gautamiya Tantra, Hari Bhakti Vilasa states, Tulasi Dalamantrena Jalasya Chulukenava Vikrinite Swam Atmanam Bhaktebhyo Bhaktavatsala. Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate, Bhaktavatsala, towards his devotees, sells himself, Vikrinite, sells himself to a devotee who offers merely a tulasi leaf and a palmful of water. Tulasi dala matrena jalasya chulukena. Chulukena means palmful of water. Vikrinite swam atmanam. He sells himself. Bhaktebhyo, to a devotee who offers merely a tulasi leaf and palmful of water. But important part is love and devotion. The Supreme Lord is causelessly merciful upon his devotees, so much so that even the poorest of men can offer him a little water and a flower in devotion and thus please him. This is due to his affectionate dealings with his devotees. Again, this is only for poorest of men can offer little water and flower. Those who have been, those to whom Krishna has gifted whatever opulences, should offer that. But either way, the important part is love and devotion. We don't actually do this. We are still in Vaidhi stage. When we are offering bhoga or when we are cooking, it's more of a very ritualistic process right now. At least I can talk about myself. But actually, we should come to the stage of cooking, offering, serving Krishna with love and devotion. Elsewhere, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, till we offer with love and devotion, it's only Narayana and Lakshmi who accept of our offering, not Krishna. Even if you're offering to Krishna, because Krishna accepts only anything with love and devotion. offer you prayers and faltering voices and in ecstasy. So we should also think, anchor for this position. When will I be able to reach this stage where we can offer, where one can offer prayers with faltering voices and in ecstasy? अथ अनया अपि न भवता इज्जया उर्भारभरया समुचितम् अर्थम् इह उपलभामहे. We engaged in your worship with many things and have offered sacrifices unto you, but we think that there is no need for so many arrangements to please your lordship. Srila Rupa Goswami says that if one is offered varied foods but has no appetite, the offering has no value. In a big sacrificial ceremony, there may be many things accumulated to satisfy the Supreme Lord. But if there is no devotion, attachment, or love for the Lord, the arrangement is useless. The Lord is complete in himself and he does not need anything from us. However, if you offer him a little water, flower, and a tulsi leaf, he will accept them. Bhakti is the main way to satisfy the Supreme Lord. It is not a question of arranging huge sacrifices. The priests were regretful, thinking that they were not on the path of devotional service and that their sacrifice was not pleasing to the Lord. Atmana eva anu savanam anjasa avyatirekena bhuyamana ashesha purusha artha swarupasya kintu natha ashishaha आशासानानाम् एतत् अभिसमृद्धा सम्राधन matram bhavitum arhati. All of life's goals and opulences are directly, self-sufficiently, unceasingly, and unlimitedly increasing in you at every moment. Indeed, your unlimited enjoyment and blissful existence itself. As far as we are concerned, O Lord, we are always after material enjoyment. You do not need all these sacrificial arrangements, but they are meant for us so that we may be benefited by your Lordship. All these sacrifices are performed for our fruitive results, and they're not actually needed by you. Fruitive results. So, because we want something, we are offering all this sacrificial arrangements, but they're not actually needed by you. What you need is just devotion. Being self sufficient, the Supreme Lord does not need huge sacrifices, fruitive activity for a more opulent life. Is for those who desire such material opulence for their interest. Ignarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. If we do not act to satisfy the Supreme Lord, we engage in Maya's activities. We may construct a gorgeous temple and spend thousands of dollars, but such a temple is not required by the Lord. The Lord has millions of temples for his residence, and he does not need our attempt. He does not require opulent activity at all. Such engagement is meant for our benefit. If we engage our money in constructing a gorgeous temple, we are freed from the reactions of our endeavors. This is for our benefit. Um, in addition, if we attempt to do something nice for the Supreme Lord, he is pleased with us and gives us his benediction. So, both, I mean, he will also be pleased if you offer something, but it's not required. He doesn't require. But he's pleased and gives us benediction. But more importantly, it is for our purification. In conclusion, the gorgeous arrangements are not for the Lord's sake, but for our own. If we somehow or other receive blessings and benedictions from the Lord, our consciousness can be purified and we can become eligible to return home back to Godhead. Meaning, by making these endeavors to please Him, and somehow, if we can receive His blessings and benedictions, then our consciousness can become purified. That is why we should also involve other not common men also who are not necessarily devotees. We should engage them in Krishna service. So things like building a temple or these kind of activities, a lot of people will come forward to donate to help, etc. Right? And they will be benefited. So we should go out and help people get benefited by by distributing books, by taking donations from them, etc., etc. So somehow we have to give mercy to non-devotees, so that they can get somehow they can get Krishna's blessings and benediction. Again, the important part is that Lord doesn't need all these things. He just needs love. But doing all this is for our own benefit, so that we get purified. Tatyatha Balishanam Swayam Atmanah Shreya Param Avidusham Parama Purusha Prakarsha Karunaya Swa Mahimanam Cha Apavarga Akyam Upakalpayishyan Swayam Na Apachitaha Eva Itaravat Iha Upalakshitaha. O Lord of Lords, we are completely ignorant of the execution of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, because we do not actually know the goal of life. You have appeared personally before us like a person soliciting worship, but actually you are present here just so we can see you. You have come out of your abundant and causeless mercy in order to serve our purpose, our interest, and give us the benefit of your personal glory called Apavarga, liberation. You come although you are not properly worshipped by us due to our ignorance. Lord Vishnu was personally present at the sacrificial arena, but this does not mean that he had any interest in his own personal benefit. Similarly, the Artha Vigraha is present um, for the same purpose. Out of his causeless mercy, the Supreme Person of Godhead presents himself before us so that we can see him. Since we have no transcendental vision, we cannot see the spiritual Sachidananda Vigraha of the Lord. Therefore, out of his causeless mercy, he comes in a form we can see. We can only see material things like stone and wood, and therefore he accepts a form of stone and wood and thus accepts our service in the temple. This is an exhibition of the Lord's causeless mercy. So we should understand this. That is why there is high qualification required to serve the Lord directly in the temple. And as per Pancharatrika Vidhi, it has to be qualified Brahmanas. The Brahmanas, devotees, Vaishnavas, who are living like Brahmanas, who are, can serve the Lord in that mood that the Lord himself is present. So many times we see very devotees very enthusiastic to touch the Archa Vigraha, to serve the Archa Vigraha. But it requires purity. It requires purity. Of course, it also requires it requires love and affection also, devotion. But it also requires purity. Because love means it is pure. So we have to follow certain standards at least. Although he has no interest in such things, in order to receive our loving service, he agrees to act as he does. We cannot actually offer suitable paraphernalia for the Lord's worship because we are completely ignorant. It was out of his causeless mercy that the Lord appeared in the sacrificial arena of Maharaja. Atha ayam eva varaha hi arthatama arhatama vyarhi bharhishi rajarshehe varada Ṛṣabha bhavan nijapurusha ikshana vishayaha asit. O most worshipful of all, you are the best of all benefactors, and your appearance at saintly King Nabhi's sacrificial arena is meant for our benediction. Because you have been seen by us, you have bestowed upon us the most valuable benediction. Nija Purusha Ikshana Vishaya. Bhagavad Gita 9.29, Krishna says, Samoham Sarvabhuteshu. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Supreme Personality of Godhead is equal to everyone. In that sense, he has no enemies and no friends. Everyone is enjoying the fruitive reactions of his own work. And the Lord within everyone's heart is observing and giving everyone the desired result. However, just as the devotees are always anxious to see the Supreme Lord satisfied in every way, Similarly, the Supreme Lord is very anxious to present himself before his devotees. Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. Thus, Krishna's appearance is for the deliverance and satisfaction of his devotees. Actually, he does not advent himself simply to kill the demon, for that can be done by his agents. Lord Vishnu's appearance at the sacrificial arena of Maharaja Nabi was just to please the king and his assistants. Otherwise, there is no reason for his being present there. Actually, and also assistants, servants, anyone who is servant of a devotee is also benefited. So we have to. That is why we have to become servant of a devotee. Servant of servant of servant of servant of servant of. Because even the servants, assistants, everybody is benefited by because the Lord appears to please his pure devotees. And elsewhere, actually, to uh, yeah, to whom I can't remember. Says the perfection of life, perfection or goal of life is to actually see, is to see me. Lord says so. Asanga nishita gnana anala vidhuta ashesha malanam bhavat swabhavanam atma aramanam muninam anavarata parigunita gunagana paramamangala ayana gunagana khatanaha asi. Dear Lord, all the great sages who are thoughtful and saintly persons incessantly recount your spiritual qualities. These sages have already burned up all the unlimited dirty things and by the fire of knowledge strengthened their detachment from the material world. Thus they have attained your qualities and are self-satisfied. Yet even for those who feel spiritual bliss in chanting your attributes, your personal presence is very rare. For those who feel spiritual bliss in chanting your attributes, even for them your personal presence is very rare. The priests in Maharaj Nabi's sacrificial arena appreciated the personal presence of the Supreme Lord Vishnu and they considered themselves very much obliged. The Lord's appearance is rare even for great saintly persons who become completely detached from this material world and whose hearts are clean due to constantly chanting the glories of the Lord. Such people are satisfied by chanting the transcendental qualities of the Lord. The Lord's personal presence is not actually required. The priests are pointing out that the Lord's personal presence is very rare even for such elevated sages. But he was so kind to them that now he was personally present. Therefore, the priests were very much obliged. Atha kathanchit skalana kshut patana jrambana duravasthana adishu vivashanam na snah smaranaya jvara marana dashayam api sakala kashmala nirasanani tava guna krita namadheyani vachana gocharani bhavantu. Dear Lord, we may not be able to remember your name, form, and qualities due to stumbling, hunger, falling down, yawning, or being in a miserable diseased condition at the time of death when there is a high fever. We therefore pray unto you, O Lord, for you are very affectionate to your devotees. Please help us remember you and utter your holy names, attributes, and activities which can dispel all the reactions of our sinful lives. We should also pray to the Lord for this. And please help us remember you. Not just at the time of death, even today, we forget the Lord. So we have to pray to Him only, saying, please give your causeless mercy so we can remember you now and at the time of death. Real success in life is Ante Narayana Smriti. Although we may be engaged in the Lord's devotional service in the temple, material conditions are so tough and inevitable that we may forget the Lord at the time of death due to a disease condition or mental derangement. Therefore, we should pray to the Lord to be able to remember His lotus feet without fail at the time of death, when we are in such a precarious condition. In this regard, one may also see Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have to pray. And we have to practice now for that final test. And we have to practice now. So we have to practice remembering the Lord. Kincha ayam raja rishihi apatya kamaha pradam bhavadrishim asa asha ashasan ashasa ashasanaha ishwaram ashisham swarga apavargayoho api bhavantam upadhavati prajayam artha pratyayah dhanadam iva adhanaha phalikaranam. Dear Lord, here is the great King Nabi, whose ultimate goal in life is to have a son like you. Like you. Your Lordship, his position is like that of a person approaching a very rich man and begging for a little grain. Maharaja Nabi is so desirous of having a son that is worshipping you for a son. Although you can offer him any exalted position, including elevation to the heavenly planets or liberation back to Godhead. So many devotees ask this question saying that, can I worship? Can I ask something out of the Lord? Yeah, you can see the example here. Approaching a very rich man and begging for a little grain. The priests were a little ashamed that King Navi was performing a great sacrifice just to ask the Lord's benediction for a son. The Lord could offer him promotion to the heavenly planets or Vaikuntha planets. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us how to approach the Supreme Lord and ask him for the ultimate benediction. He said, Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam, va jagadisha kamaye. He did not want to ask the Supreme Lord for anything material. Material opulence means riches, nice family, good wife, many followers. But an intelligent devotee doesn't ask the Supreme Lord for anything material. So we can note this. If we are intelligent, we will not ask for anything material. His only prayer is Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhakti Rahaitukhi. He wants to be engaged perpetually in the loving service of the Lord. He does not want promotion to the heavenly planets or mukti, liberation from material bondage. If this were the case, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not have said Mama Janmani Janmani. Doesn't matter to a devotee whether or not he takes birth after birth, life after life, as long as he remains a devotee. Bhakti Rahituki. Pure, causeless. No, there shouldn't be any reason for doing bhakti. Actually, eternal liberty means returning home back to God. Devotee is never concerned about anything material. Although Nabi Maharaj wanted a son like Vishnu, wanting a son like God is also a form of sense gratification. A pure devotee wants only to engage in the Lord's loving service. So yeah, we can think, oh, I'm wanting a son like God only, what is there? And then I'm wanting son like God so that I can serve him later. But Prabhupada is making it clear that is also sense gratification. Kaha va iha te aparajitaha aparajitaya mayaya anavasita padavya anavritamatihi vishaya visha raya anavrita prakritihi anupasita mahat charanaha. Dear Lord, unless one worships the lotus feet of great devotees, one will be conquered by the illusory energy and his intelligence will be bewildered. Unless one worships the lotus feet of great devotees, will be conquered by illusory energy and our intelligence will be bewildered. Indeed, who has not been carried away by the waves of material enjoyment, which are like, who has not been carried away by the waves of material enjoyment, which are like poison? Your illusory energy is unconquerable. No one can see the path of this material energy or tell how it is working. We cannot tell how it is working, but we can tell that it is working when we get conquered by illusory energy and when our intelligence becomes bewildered. Maharaja Nabi was inclined to performing great sacrifices for begetting a son. Son might be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but such a material desire is brought about by the influence of Maya. Oof, this also is brought about by the influence of Maya, because Prabhupada is saying it's a material desire. A devotee does not at all desire anything for sense gratification, meaning actually you should not desire anything in connection with this body. Like wanting a son is connection with his body, right? So devotion therefore explained as devoid of material desires, sanya, abhilashita, shunya. Everyone is subjected to the influence of Maya and entangled in all kinds of material desire, and Maharaj Nabi was no exception. Freedom from Maya's influence is possible when one engages in the service of the great devotees, Mahacharana Seva. Without worshipping lotus feet, great devotee, one cannot be freed from Maya's influence. Again, worshipping the lotus feet of a great devotee means following his instructions. Srila Narottama Das Thakur therefore says, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nisthara Payachikeva. Who has been freed from Maya's clutches without serving the lotus feet of a Vaishnava? Maya is aparajita. Her influence is also aparajita, meaning cannot be conquered. Daivi Yesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya, very difficult to overcome. Only a devotee can surpass Maya's great influence. It was no fault on Maharaja Nabhi's part that he wanted a son. He wanted a son like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the best of all sons. And by the law association with the Lord's devotee, one no longer desires material opulence. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Khai, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Mahat Kripa Vina Kona Karme Bhakti Nai. Krishna Bhakti Dure Rahu Samsara Nahe Kshay. If one is serious about escaping Maya's influence and returning home back to Godhead, one must associate with a devotee sadhu. That is the verdict of all scriptures. By the slight association, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, of a devotee, one can be freed from the clutches of Maya. Without the mercy of the pure devotee, one cannot get freedom by any means. Certainly, a pure devotee's association is necessary in order to obtain the loving service of the Lord. One cannot be freed from Maya's clutches without Sadhu Sangha, the benediction of a great devotee. Without the mercy of pure devotee, one cannot get freedom by any means. So we have to take this very seriously. We have to work for getting the mercy of a pure devotee. And certainly a pure devotee's association is necessary in order to obtain loving service to the Lord. Certainly, Prabhupada is saying. There is no other way. Sadhu Sangha means benediction of a great devotee. Srimad Bhagavatam Prahlad Maharaj says, Naishamatistavadurukkramangrim Prishatyanarthapagamo yadartaha Mahiyasam padarajobhishekam Niskinchananam navrunita yavat. One cannot become the Lord's pure devotee without taking the dust of a great devotee on his head. Pada Rajo Abhishekam. Pure devotee is Nishkinchana. There is no material desire to enjoy the material world. One has to take shelter of such a pure devotee in order to attain his qualities. So this is also very nice. When we take the shelter of a pure devotee, we also attain those qualities which are there in that pure devotee, which is ultimately love for Krishna. The pure devotee is always free from the clutches of Maya and her influence. These are also very nice words. Yesham matihi tavat urukrama angrim. Sprishati anartha apagamaha yat arthaha. Mahiyasam, great devotees, pada rajaha abhishekam nishkinchananam na vranita yavat. Unless they spear upon their heads the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely freed from material contamination. Persons very much inclined towards materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord. So if you want to become attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, We have to smear upon our bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava who is completely pure, Ishkinchana. Mhm. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in this way, taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in this way, meaning taking smearing upon the body the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Only by that can one become free from material contamination. Otherwise, it's very difficult task. To become free from contamination of material world, material life is very, very difficult. It cannot be, it's very difficult just to do that by jnana, because we are so tightly under the grips of Maya that even if we have knowledge, we might not be able to put that knowledge into practice. So we really need mercy. That mercy comes from a pure devotee. Otherwise, everybody is chanting Hare Krishna. What is the need for a guru? Because we need the dust of the lotus feet of a great devotee on our head. Somebody who's instructing us. Uh, mm, Nowadays, it has become spiritual guide. It's not spiritual guide, it's spiritual master. Spiritual guide means he might suggest something, we might take it or not take it. Up to us. But spiritual master means he's a master. We are his slave. So we have to simply accept whatever his instructions are. And if we don't do that, then we will never get the mercy of a pure devotee, which is absolutely required. Without mercy, one cannot get freedom. So this is very, very important. We have to do quality sadhu sangha. And when such great devotees are coming, and when you get the opportunity to serve them, we should engage in that service. Right, so we are fortunate that His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj will be coming and giving us an opportunity to serve His lotus feet, and thereby get His mercy. I'm sure many of you are already engaged in various services, but if you're not, you should try to get some service. So this is very, very important. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Navamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Navamatra, it is said even by just darshan, even by just being seen by them, or even we seeing them, we are benefited. Okay, we can stop here. Any comments? Okay, we can stop here. Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripa Ananta Koti Vaishnava. Jai. Hare Krishna.